I have to defend this expansion here. And look, Tanya can just open fire, killing units, shooting infantry, look. And I got Tanya.
Battle control initialized.
Hello there, comrades and cannon fodder. It's Dvoid here. I've got a 1v1 multiplayer game on Scorched Earth map for you. We've got a spectator. And I'm using Russia. My opponent's using France for this one. This is a game I fought earlier today. And this is, I think this is going to be my 202nd post. So, and my 200th post is processing now. It should be ready to post any moment. And then I've done another post after that that's also processing, plus this one, which I'm working on now. So by the time I'm done, hopefully I'll have 203 posts complete. And my opponent has gone for an oil refinery before anything. I mean, before a barracks. I've got a power plant, obviously. I've gone for my barracks. And what I do is, the first rifles I send out to secure these oil derricks and hospital, they also secure my own closest oil derrick. Make sure the enemy aren't close by, and having two rifles together means they will kill any single rifleman they come across. But my opponent's got this sandbag barrier in the way. They've got a barracks. That's a fake power plant and a real power plant. That's one of the things I like about France. You can place fake power plants around your base, so the first structures the enemy finds will be fake power plants. And it buys you time and gives you warning. You see, I'm looking for the enemy engineer, and there are none. He's trained no units or built no units yet. So I should have run in there and destroyed this power plant. I'm moving in, look, but I'm just not moving that close. And my opponent's got a ranger now. And I'll be soon training my rocket soldiers soon. You see, my engineer's running away. And then back again. Trying to cover him with riflemen. And I'm trying to make a decent group of riflemen. See, the ranger's hunting for my engineer. Well, you've just driven right past him a minute ago. And there you see, there's a rocket soldier. The armour on these rangers, they're like flak trucks. Riflemen will destroy them if they get close for long. A load of riflemen will destroy a ranger or a flak truck quite easily. They don't have the armour of an APC or a light tank. Or anything above that. There we go, there's a small stream of riflemen. My opponent's trained an engineer now. And look, they are hunting for my engineer. And they've got the view range to do it. Will they catch him? No. I guess I've got him protected well enough. The riflemen do have a better attack range than a ranger, I believe. Sounds strange, the ranger has the view range, but I believe a rifleman can actually fire a cell further or something. I could be wrong, but there you go, I'm investigating, look. See what my enemy's got, and obviously there's very little about. I'm just causing a bit of distraction. And my opponent's moving this small force. I should have done more by now. I've got a 5,000 army value. My opponent's got 3,000, so I'm allowing them now to get going and get started. Looks like there's 5 ore trucks there. Let's see how many I have. 5 each. And I've earned slightly less than my opponent. Only very slightly. 1,000 less, a little more. But I've spent that in... I've got more, over 1,000... larger army, more than that. But at this point, a small basic defensive force will be able to destroy this attack force. There's only a couple of rockets there, look. You know, not very good at all. My opponent's got a nice group of rockets there. Got a few units trailing behind. My opponent's got a medium tank, and that's a fake barracks. And the APC, yeah, it got blown away, but I've destroyed the medium tank, and my opponent's using this for the view range, but they haven't got enough infantry. I've got an 8,000 army value, my opponent's got 5,000. And I'm having to fall back because I've got no vehicles with these guys. Now, there's a medium tank and a ranger with the enemy's force. But I'm bringing up a vehicle as soon as possible. I'm expanding fairly effectively. And still trying to keep units at my home base, look. I've got a 10,000 army value to my opponent's 6,000. And they're attacking my hospital. And they've got this area covered nicely. I couldn't attack in there. You know, I'd lose loads of infantry. I'd need a decent force of tanks. And, you know, they could make a good stand here with assets like that, with those base defences and barracks and more build radius. You see, they're falling back and they're wise to. What I'm deciding to go for a moving forward look with a decent force, and they would have definitely seen all this. But I'm not going exactly for where I've just seen the enemy. I'm trying to move to one side a little bit. And I've got a 16,000 army value. My opponent's got 12,000. A few thousand army value difference isn't as important as having the right position. I'm bringing up an MCV and also having the right elements. A few thousand difference in army value will not decide the game unless you're both at exactly equal positioning, of course, but your initial positioning and formation is more important. And there you go, I have got base defences with me, look at that working as well, and those medium tanks will be destroyed. Here we go, launching an attack against his basic expansion, and now look, they're keeping the tanks out of the way, so I can't destroy them, and that's now left them with superior view range, and they've got base defences, vehicles and infantry, quickly becoming as many infantry as mine, and I've blown it there with that attack. That was a mistake, continuing the attack. I've destroyed most of the vehicles, and there's an ore truck, some tanks gone. But I've lost my vehicles again. I'm having to fall back. Before I've lost everything, I'm falling back. But I've got an 8,000 army value. My opponent's got 6, so I didn't blow it completely. But this here, I did place that in the wrong place. I was in the middle of combat. I've placed a forward war factory, and this is where I'm hoping that it's going to pay off and that I hold my ground. I've still got a larger army value than my opponent, and my home base, I've got some assets here, but they haven't been attacked. Not yet. And there are wall sections getting in the way of my defences and my opponents. But that won't matter for long. But you see, this force here has been completely stopped. You know, a small force, look, even this, they won't get through. With 2 tanks and that few infantry, they won't do any damage, but they can at least guard my MCV. And I've seen my opponent, they've got a radar dome, and I've seen that my opponent is pressing the attack here. But they won't be able to push into that. But they are walling off my forces. Look at that. So my attacks won't hit, and now they've got artillery. That is perfect timing. They can fire over the wall, so I've immediately fallen back. That's good. Very nice work. They walled it off and then had an artillery piece ready. Now, I've moved these vehicles here to look for an enemy expansion, and they haven't moved this far yet, but I had to try and do something. I can't focus all my assets here because my opponent is quickly, like, pushing me back. So I've still got a larger army value, but they've just got the assets. And look, I've found the mobile construction vehicle, and that my units have let it escape. That's very lucky for my opponent. These guys were busy on an eco raid, obviously didn't even notice it. And look, Tesla coil, no power. but I'm bringing units into position. I've got an eco raid here. There we go, look. There's an attack. Attack on the enemy's main expansion. They don't have a massive amount of income, but this is what they need. If I'd have destroyed their construction yard, they would have been a bit trapped, but I need to deal with... I've got my own radar dome, but I need to deal with these artillery pieces. And I've done some damage, look, to their expansion. There's 2 ore trucks gone. And their infantry's falling back. It's wise to. He's lost 3 ore trucks there. So, and now I'm going to burn this refinery down. I don't want him just replacing the ore trucks with these ones, because they're mined out of their home base. But my opponent's attacking here. Tesla coil down straight away. But look, I'm actually... That wasn't too bad. But the artillery is finishing the engagement. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I might have been distracted and had my attention elsewhere, because my opponent moved right in amongst my troops there. I'm trying to move tanks around the outside, make a small attack force here, look. And I'm struggling. I sold that by accident. It was a fumble. I thought about selling it and then decided not to, and a fumble sold it. So that was a mistake, selling that forward war factory. I've done it in a game before where I nearly sold it, didn't, and I ended up winning because of it. But that was a fumble. But he's still firing at it. You think my opponent will think it's their luck, you see? They're firing at a war factory that no longer exists. So that's fine. But I've still got this eco raid, look. I'm leading his troops all over. And now, there you go, they've set up another expansion. That's their lifeline. I need one here. And things are turning around. I've got a 10,000 army value. My opponent's got 19,000 now. So that's like, I'm in trouble. That attack here, I messed that up. It was an overcommitment. As soon as my vehicles were gone, I should have backed off. But I shouldn't have committed that much anyway. Shouldn't have done it. And I'm struggling to stop these artillery pieces. And I've let an ore truck stray into enemy fire. There you go, look, that's going on an eco raid. I wonder if he makes it. And here we are, yeah. My opponent doesn't have to attack, they can just stand back a bit and use their artillery. They haven't got a massive force there, to be fair, but you don't get to see, look at that. You know, I can see artillery and loads of troops. You know, I can't fight that. Even if that's all there is. I can't, still can't, there's artillery bombarding everything. And there you go, there's my tank on an eco raid. And my opponent's responded perfectly well. You see, they've got a strong force protecting this half, you know, and they can place defences. They've done well there to recover against the pressure I was putting them under. But it was my attack here. I overcommitted and blew it, and I'm falling back there, look. Oh, actually, no. I know it's over for me now. So what I'm just, because my opponent's got helicopters. So what I'm going to do is, I've moved this, and because I've got a radar dome, I'm hoping to go on, use some engineers and thieves. Let's just check the economy situation. And my opponent hasn't got cash anyway, so it was, you know, no good. And I'm trying to move around the enemy to catch their artillery with these tanks, and, you know, they're on the ball, put it that way. They're ready. Now, I've got my own air units, and I'm still placing defences and stuff, keeping my units back, but they've got all the assets they need. They can see exactly what's going on, and they've got artillery, lots of rocket troops to shoot down my air units, so it's going to be very hard getting to these artillery pieces, although there are only 2, so I must have done some damage. But yeah, I'm searching, look, with my aircraft, and my opponent's doing the same. I've got an eco raid here. Now, there's a V2, and I've seen the enemy aircraft, so I'm trying to keep that V2 away while I also produce flak trucks. And we've still got 2 oil derricks each, and I've got more ore trucks than my opponent because of the damage I did to their economy, and now I've got a couple of aircraft. But look, they've brought up a construction yard. And now they've got an AA gun. That means my air units can't target their artillery anymore. So I've let them make a solid position here. but I felt kind of like there wasn't much I could do. But now I've got a few air units. I could maybe have fallen back and tried to buy more time, but I was thinking and trying, and look, I'm gathering a force here. There, you see, they're not even attacking. All they need to do is stand back and fire with the artillery. That's all they need to do. And I knew I couldn't waste those planes, so I sent them this way and thought, well, if he's got AA defences at the front line, there's my... There, you see, I'm targeting their power plants, and my V2s were knocked out by aircraft look, and I was trying to target their AA guns. So let's see if they are in low power. Not quite. No way near. But there you go. I lost my V2s without noticing, and my planes, at least they knocked out some power plants. But they're on their way back, and I've got an extra plane now. My base defences are being destroyed, my anti-aircraft defences. The artillery can pick them off while the artillery's safe behind the AA gun. Not a good situation. My opponent's got Tanya, all the assets they need, a big army. Yeah, 44,000 army value to my opponent, 21,000 to me. So I've got a good army, but it's not enough to stop this force that's just creeping with all the elements. And here you see I haven't got much choice but to attack. I have to defend this expansion here. And look, Tanya can just open fire, killing units, shooting infantry, look. And I got Tanya, and I'm hoping for a few crashes. Did a little bit of damage with my infantry. Now there's my flak trucks to deal with enemy aircraft, but they're firing at other things anyway. And there you go, my army's been smashed. It's the artillery that did it. You know, a couple of artillery pieces and all the elements. That's what all you need is. Just don't overcommit and attack like I did. Just stand off with the artillery, cover it with anti-aircraft defences, because these AA guns, when you have a radar dome, will give them extra view range. So the AA gun will have full range when it fires, because they can't see as far as they can shoot. I've said this before. But with that radar dome, it reveals all this, meaning the AA gun can fire at full range. And I'm trying to escape with 3 ore trucks and my MCV, trying to build up a force here, while sending engineers and thieves this way. Look, there you go. But my opponent has got a pillbox ready anyway, and I'm caught between 2 armies. I'm at 7,000, my opponent's at 46,000. And there you go. That's called that. And I've seen the pillboxes that I can't move this way. So, and I've destroyed one of their artillery pieces, and the plane didn't even get the second one. It crashed on them, but there you go. And I've got most of my ore trucks still intact. And I've got 2 MCVs. Let's have a look at... Oh, I've got some cash as well. It's a shame. It's a shame that. And there's my thieves and engineers caught out. I'm training units here, but what of it? There's the end. And there you go. And my opponent's got 2 radar domes, unless one's fake. No, they're not. They're both real. Very interesting. But that's for the view range, like I say, and backup. Why not? But there you are, they've found me. I'll just go through the graphs and charts, and I'll add a second replay to this. This is a game from earlier, and I'm going to obviously post this one, but I'm going to add a second replay, which is the last game I fought not long ago. So here's the army graph, look, and I was actually ahead. It's just I kept dipping and losing units until finally at about 10 minutes I'd been beneath the enemy's army value, and I was increasing in army value, but they were way ahead and using their assets far more skillfully. The way they had their artillery covered by AA guns, and they didn't even need to attack. It was quite well done, you know. But that's what you get with players like that. Have a look at another replay where it didn't go quite to their favour. In I think one of the last games I had, it didn't go quite as well for them. But you can't win them all. Here's the earnings graph, and my opponent has had a big drop in his earnings. That must be from this eco raid here where I took out 3 ore trucks and the refinery. That's probably what did that damage, but my opponent sure did recover, look. Very nice indeed. Army, let's have a look at my opponent's finishing army. A load of helicopters, some artillery, medium tanks and a decent amount of infantry. So yeah, they use those assets extremely well, mixed with base defences, etc. 42,000 army value my opponent's got. And I lost 37 structures, my opponent lost 9. I killed 199 of my enemy's units, my opponent killed 424 units, so that's not good. I destroyed 58,000 credits worth of my opponent's assets, my opponent destroyed 123,000 credits worth of my assets. That's not good at all. And they've got a GPS satellite ready to use, just in case it wasn't over, and they're building defences and medium tanks. Let's have a look at the economy. They've got 8 ore trucks left. They hung on to 2 oil derricks. I earned 140,000. My opponent earned 148,000. So we're both okay for earnings. And I've got 6 grand left. My opponent's got 12. Nice. I was at 33 actions per minute. My opponent was at 51 actions per minute. And there's your scores. 564 to me. 1,209 to my opponent. Yeah, great. So there's the first game for you. I'm going to add a second replay. Like I say, this was the last game that I fought.
Terminated.
So here we are. This is a 1v1 multiplayer game on Timian map. And I didn't actually... This is one of my favourite maps, as my viewers will know. But I didn't pick this map. My opponent did, and I joined their game. So I'm using Russia, and my opponent's using Russia. So when I saw this player waiting, one of my favourite players, I saw them waiting for a 1v1 game and saw the map they'd chosen and thought, well, I'll oblige you there, I'll have a go, because I do like this map. And if one of my favourite players wants to have a go on one of my favourite maps, you know, it's tempting, too tempting to not have a battle, even though it is, let me see, 7:09 AM in the morning. It doesn't matter. I couldn't resist. And this was my last game. I fought it not long ago. So even though I didn't fight this game at 7:09, I'm commentating it and posting it at 7:09. It was probably about 6 that I fought the game, 6 AM. But like I say, it's too tempting for me not to face this opponent on this map. And I'm moving forward to my first oil derrick, and my opponent's sent a stream of infantry straight to the centre of my reinforcement lines. They haven't trained their engineer yet, but I haven't found them. I sent 3 riflemen to guard the engineer there, look. Now, it's hit the end of the enemy's stream of infantry, but I think this force is okay. Now, they've killed all the rest, but my engineer, look, I got sloppy and careless, and my opponent has killed my engineer. Now, they've stopped there. That's a bit strange. When they've stopped, they should have bunched together, and they could probably have defeated them. But they are sent that 7 rifles holding my oil derrick, but I've got a few rifles around theirs, so neither of us have got any capture. I've got 1 oil derrick, and my opponent has just got their engineer, so they'll have an oil derrick soon. But 3 rifles left. I'm moving forward. Let's just see how that went. My opponent killed 6 units, I killed 10. But because they killed an engineer, they got 900 value killed. I killed 1,000 value because I killed 10 rifles. That's 1,000. They killed 6 units, but one of them was worth 400 because it was an engineer. And here we are. I've got some rocket soldiers training. So has my opponent. That means the war factory should be pretty close. Yeah, mine's ready to place. My opponent's will be soon. I delayed a few seconds there. I could have been ahead by a few seconds, and being closer here meant I could have had a vehicle on site for a while before the enemy. Now you see they haven't got any rockets here. So close. They've got more rifles though, and I'm losing rocket troops. I'm at least getting this guy out of here, saving one of them, and my veterans have held the line. Now I'm bringing more units, and my opponent's backed off, but they've only got 3 rocket soldiers left of that group. Very nice. But they are bringing an APC, and so am I, but my opponent, I've got an engineer there. My opponent's engineer is here. So we're still at 1 oil derrick each, and there you go, look. My opponent has found the engineer, destroyed it. And I think it's got away, yes. Very nicely done with the APC escaping. Which way is it going? Yeah, well out of the way. My APC's fine, but I didn't know if that was actually going to drop off rocket soldiers here. I just had to make sure and check. Just to make sure, eh? And my opponent's got the service depot. I'm way behind for some reason. That's no good. What's the reason? Oh dear, I may have been just delayed. Not paying attention. I can place mine and it's still delayed. That's not good. My opponent has distracted me a lot. Now, I've only captured one oil derrick. There's my opponent's engineer. And now I'm starting to build up a few numbers. There you go, I'm checking to see if my opponent's gone on an early base push, because I do know that they do like their base pushes. But here you go, my APC has run into the enemy, and I thought it was a move command, but it's too late. Oh, he escaped, look at that. And then the last machine gun shot got it, and I got their APC as well. So they're wise to back off. But looks like they've captured this oil derrick, and they're taking hold of it. So their losses, they're getting something for their losses. So yeah, fair enough, I don't blame my opponent, that's good. If I had a rifleman or two, it would be too late by now though. I've got a fair few rocket soldiers there. It's not like me to have so many so early. There's my MCV. And my opponent has got their second MCV. They're going for this one. And I would guess that they'd do that. Because I've seen them do that plenty of times. Go for this closest expansion. They're placing a Tesla coil straight away to protect from tank raids and eco raids and stuff. Tesla coil's got a better range than a flame tower. And my opponent, what's that all about? Where's this going? What's it doing? They're building power plants. Once I place my construction yard and get my fourth refinery, my first expansion refinery placed, I build a power plant and 3 barracks straight away, just to get up to 7 barracks as early as possible, so I'm not falling behind in army mass. I'm at 10,000 army value, my opponent's at 9.5. And look, we've got a big, an aggressive base push. My opponent has placed a Tesla coil to attack my flame tower and destroyed it. That's not very nice. And then a little bit of a zap hit my ore truck. But I've got a tank that's screening my construction yard. I've got a flame tower. I've placed that barracks perfectly. And now that's going to should be my primary. And I've got the enemy beaten here in this defensive engagement, but I've got to watch for the Tesla coil. So there you go, I'm at 10,000 army value, my opponent's at 5. And there you go, I've got to deal with this Tesla coil before more units start to attack. And I need to get these tanks in position and go for it. Because I'm smelling blood, I can sense that my opponent has blown it. These aggressive base pushes, I use base pushes and it's good, but I don't use them so aggressively. It's a good tactic and this player does it well, but when it goes wrong, this is what you end up with. Look, my MCV is going to stop his and block it. Look at that. Go on, kill it. Shoot it. You see, my MCV, it's just like brutal. But this is still alive, look at that. Little cheeky little barracks, so that was diverting reinforcements away from the front line, and it was starting to look at that, he's got infantry. Now, that means it's an irritation. I couldn't send them all back, I had to go on attack, and I was worried about here. That's why my primary production is here, to have some units defending my base, because this player's good. I've got to watch it. Now, I can see I'm being hit by a Tesla coil, and this is irritating. That's why I've pulled most of this back, but I've got a tank up front. You see, I'm not sending it all in, and I'm keep picking units out, look. I'm sending everything in to attack here, but picking small groups of units out, look. That's all I need to stop this. A tank up front, screen the flame tower, and then a few rifles. That's all I need. And all their infantry production has now been here, and has been destroyed. So, provided I don't lose this battle here, then they've wasted their infantry production for a while. Now I'm at 15,000 army value, my opponent's at 4,000, and I've noticed this oil derrick. So I want that. There you go, there's an engineer to capture it. And I'm launching my attack immediately. These guys need to be destroying ore trucks quickly. Stop my opponent's economy because he's lost his expansion, don't forget. This is not going to help you, mate. And there you go. That's a frontline smash, overrun. But there's defences here, look. And it's not over. Let's have a look at my opponent's economy. Yeah, they've got a bit of cash. I have as well. But you have to watch it. You could still lose this. You see, I've just wasted the time shooting that, and I see a flame tower at my back. Perfect flame tower placement with a tank to draw fire. Now, that's a nice chunk of infantry I've just lost. You see, it's not over yet. You can still mess it up and ruin it. And I'm trying to find a place to deploy my MCV. Trying to get my engineer in on the attack as well, because I want him to do some capturing luck. But I'm getting my tanks up front to kill these infantry, because that's where his production is now. And one rocket soldier, that's just not going to bother me. Although I have finished mining there. I should have had my home base MCV expanding here, my conyard. But this is where all my attention is. I'm attacking, and I know my opponent is desperately putting every resource, credit and unit he can to defend this base. So I'm maintaining the pressure. Yeah, that's it, look. And I know now that's the end, and my opponent now knows it as well. And look at that, I didn't even notice the spectators put Dvoid is OP. I actually put yes in answer to GG from my opponent, but it looks like I was agreeing to Dvoid is OP. Although it's not my words, that's the spectator saying that. So, you know, that's someone else's words. So you can't, you know, it's not me. It's not me saying that. You know, that's all I'll say. But I didn't notice it at the time, but yeah, Dvoid is OP. That's just great. So there's the second game for you, and I'll go through the graphs and charts. And look at this army graph. Look how close we were at the point the combat started. Very nice. And there you go, I've got a decent army there to finish with, and my opponent was just suffered severe losses. It was that battle here that did him in. And then there was no recovering after that. But my opponent's earnings were superior to mine at one point, at a crucial point as well. It looks like we were dead equal up until 5 minutes, and then up to about 8 minutes. No, sorry, 7.5 minutes. My opponent was far better for his. Well, he was doing better for his economy, and I wasn't even as stable. So that was quite good. That. Now my finishing army 7. Heavies. I've got a mobile flak for some bizarre reason. I don't know why. And some rocket soldiers and a few rifle infantry. Not a lot, to be fair. 13,000 army value. It was a fight all the way. My opponent lost 14 structures. I lost 3. My opponent killed 150 units. I killed 174. And my opponent destroyed 29,000 credits worth of my assets. I destroyed 50,000 credits worth of my opponent's assets. There's no support powers in effect. I did have a radar dome, but it was too soon. I must have probably one of the last things I placed, to be fair. Yeah. I'm not certain how long I've had that, but I've got I don't even think I was thinking about training thieves. I was just thinking about getting this finished and not overcommitting and ruining it. That's all I was focused on, to be fair. I did continue my expansion here, so I could have moved them down there, and then I'd secured this, of course, so I was okay. But my home base MCV should move up to here, or here, more like, and then secure that. Place your home base MCV here, to be fair, and then secure this oil derrick at the same time. There's production, economy. I've got 7 ore trucks left. I've hung on to 2 oil derricks. This one from the start, and I took that one from my opponent near the end. My opponent earned 57,000 credits. I earned 70,000 credits, and I've got a decent bit of cash left at the end. But my opponent was at 43 actions per minute. I was at 29. And there's your scores, 291 to my opponent, 518 to me. There's your basic stats and graphs. So there's the second game for you. I hope you enjoyed those 2 games, those 2 replays. If you like what you saw, give us a sub and a like. And thank you very much for watching, everyone. Take good care of yourselves, and until next time, thank you and goodbye.
Battle control terminated.